executive session. So I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Thank you very much, to enter into an executive. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. We are now in an executive session. Mr. Finter, we will get with you and transfer you into the executive session room here in just the next minute or so. And we will be back shortly. Mr. Finter, I heard a beep. Is that you?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Well, thank you. We have a motion was made to adjourn the executive session and the executive session, so we will now reconvene the special council meeting. The first item and only item on this agenda, the remaining item rather, is approving and authorizing the city manager to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the Arizona Board of Regents for and on behalf of Arizona State University for the development, operation, and maintenance of educational facilities in Mesa. Mr. McVeigh, I see you're ready to answer any questions and make a presentation. I'm not sure that we need a presentation. Maybe for public consumption, we ought to talk about what a wonderful marriage we're anticipating here. Mr. McVeigh, you want to kick that off?
Sure, Mayor. I'll make the short and sweet version
okay.
of the agreement. I'm going to go over the highlights of the city commitments, ASU's commitments, and kind of where we move forward from here. So first, I'll go through with our city commitments. This is set up as an IGA with multiple phases. The first phase is the construction of buildings A and B as shown on the site plan that's attached to this slide. All tenant improvements, and then design and construction of any of the public infrastructure improvements. So that'd be utilities as well as the public open space.
You use the term as shown?
Oh, I'm sorry. Buildings A and B as shown. The intent of that is a conceptual design. Of course, we will continue, as we'll see in a later slide, there's going to be a master plan that's required as part of this agreement. The language of that master plan is specific that the locations of the buildings shown are conceptual. We will have to look at this much closer. It's going to be a lot more review going into this. Footprints can change, locations can change. The primary intent is that 180,000 square feet.
Yep, perfect. Thank you.
We're also required to address any parking issues so that we will find replacement parking throughout the downtown. Phase 2 would be at the city's discretion. So if we want to move forward into phase 2 or phase 3, that would be how we go. And that was two more buildings totaling almost 80,000 square feet. In the first phase, ASU's commitment is 1,500 students and 100 faculty and staff within the first 5 years. The minimum programs that we are anticipating with this are related to digital sensory technologies, performance and media arts, early childhood education, and entrepreneurial support. There are several other programs and activities that ASU is planning to bring, but those are the ones that are tied to the agreement. Within 10 years, there'll be 2,000 students and 125 faculty and staff. ASU will be taking care of the furniture, fixtures, and equipment improvements to the building. So as our city engineer describes, if you take a building and you flip it over, what falls out, that's FF&E. The reserve and replacement fund, ASU will seed essentially an escrow account that will pay for those larger capital improvements that may be needed for the building, which ties to the next point that they are fully responsible for all operations and maintenance of their facilities. If the city constructs phase 2 and then also phase 3, the total number of students that we could anticipate at the site are 3,000. The total number of faculty would be 200 faculty and staff. Again, with those future phases, same conditions would apply. ASU would construct, or the city would construct the buildings. ASU would be responsible for FF&E and the operations and maintenance. The agreement also contains several what I consider cooperative commitments that we will be, as the mayor said, this is going to be the start of a long marriage. So they'll start with the selection of design consultants. ASU and the city will work together to make those selections. We'll also work together to come up with that master plan, the final locations for buildings, and the design guidelines for not only buildings but the civic space itself. We also have to agree to 3 separate project budgets, one for buildings, one for infrastructure, and one for overall. And that project budget becomes a hard and fast number that can only be changed if the city so determines. We also will be working together on subleasing of commercial space, and also we'll work together on fundraising to help offset capital costs and also to offset furniture, fixture, and equipment costs. These financial commitments, these are not in the agreement, but I just wanted to summarize again. If we build out as has been conceptualized so far, what our cost would be for phase 1, it could range from $103 to $122 million. Phase 2 and phase 3 combined could range from $32 to $38 million. Revenues, so this is our lease itself. The lease is for 99 years. There are provisions that would allow it to be extended should ASU invest make a significant capital investment in the building that's longer than the remaining term of the lease. That lease could be extended to cover the term of that, the lifespan of that capital investment. Rent will be $100,000 a year plus the reimbursement for city's facilities manager. That would be a city employee that would oversee the maintenance, the operation maintenance of the city center. And then additional revenues that we aren't able to quantify at this point, but that we will anticipate being part of this are the commercial subleases. Net revenues will come to the city. If there are revenues generated from parking, net revenues from those parking revenues will come to the city. And then also ASU will become a very large customer of the city's utilities. And with that, I'm happy to take discussion and questions.
Thank you, Mr. McVeigh. I know we've gone through this agreement on our own and in executive session, so I think a lot of the questions that we have already been addressed. Mr. Richens.
I just wanted to compliment the parties on the negotiation and how both parties were very fair in approaching this. I think this is a groundbreaking agreement between ASU and a city. I appreciate ASU's diligence in working with us and trying to make this work and with an eye towards the long term and with an eye towards some flexibility. So I appreciate that. Looking forward to seeing how this continues to unfold as we talk about the next phase of it, which will be financing. But I'll make a motion to approve the IGA.
Thank you, Mr. Richens. It's been seconded by Mr. Kavanaugh. Mr. Kavanaugh.
Thank you. I seconded the motion and I support the intergovernmental agreement. Over 4 terms on council, I've seen a lot of agreements and a lot of discussions in terms of various projects presented to the city, some of which have materialized, others have not, for a whole variety of reasons. But I think the parties worked very hard and in good faith to arrive at an agreement that is fair to the city and it's fair to the university. So I think in terms of taxpayers, both in Mesa and in Arizona, this is something that I think everyone will ultimately see the benefit of, will see the equity of the agreement. So again, I applaud the work for our staff and as well as ASU representatives in getting to this point. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Luna.
Thank you so much for your hard work. I also read the agreement with great scrutiny. I wanted to make sure it was fair for certainly the city of Mesa as well as our taxpayers and getting what they, make sure that they benefit from this great partnership that we're going to have with Arizona State University. It certainly inclusive of all the elements that we were looking for, and I just appreciate our legal staff and I appreciate ASU for working diligently and trying to get this work accomplished. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll chime in too. I think this is a great opportunity. I don't want to overstate it, but I think it really might be a kind of a once-in-a-generation opportunity for us to make a real step forward in our downtown and in providing more higher education opportunities to our citizens, which will bear a lot of fruit in terms of economic development and cementing our image as a community that has a well-prepared workforce and that a community that places a high value on education. So I think this is a perfect marriage for a lot of reasons. I appreciate, again, at ASU as well. I had the opportunity to speak with Dr. Crow a couple of days ago and about this deal. And with his permission, I'll share what he said, which is that ASU considers the Downtown Mesa proposal a quote-unquote big deal. This is a priority for ASU, and they're going to put a lot of time and energy and treasure into making this project successful. And it's fun to be involved in a partnership or in a marriage with somebody that has the same agenda that you do. So the things that we're going to use to measure the success of this operation are the same things that ASU is going to use to measure their success. So for that reason, I'm very comfortable and see very positive things coming out of this. There still obviously is work to be done in ironing out the details of the financing. There's certainly public safety is a priority in our community, and we want to make sure that's a top priority in finding additional funds for public safety as well. So that will be a part of this. But I look forward to that discussion, and I think really in talking with my fellow council members that we're on the same agenda. We want the same things to happen there. So I'm very optimistic that we'll be back soon with. But I look forward to the discussion about the financing issues. So there's been a motion and a second. Mr. Finter, did you get an opportunity, or do you have anything you'd like to share with us?
Express my appreciation too. A lot of hard work. Realize there's grateful for the opportunity and looking forward to this.
Great. Thank you very much. If there's no other discussion, we will entertain a call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Passes unanimously. And again, thanks to staff and to ASU for your hard work in getting us to this point.